Hey everyone, you're watching Holla at a Hero, where we chat with everyday heroes doing beautiful work of Kingdom Come. I'm Charity and I'm the Director of Connections and First Impressions at Church of the City East. Today I chat with my friends Tom and Katie, who are educators at Cameron Middle School. Cameron is part of the lead public charter schools and serves students in South Nashville, where a large majority of their students are ESL and come from families of immigrants. In this episode, we talk about what it was like for students, parents, and even admin and teachers to navigate the complexities of COVID-19 and education. We talk about the initial impact of an abruptly ended school year and how Cameron and their team just rallied and provided resources for their families and for their students in a variety of ways, but especially through social media platforms. Y'all, they have a TikTok page and it is good. It is so funny. I love it. It's so good. They also reach their students through Instagram, providing them through their teacher pages. They provide them with pop quizzes, riddles, and y'all, I started following their accounts on Instagram, and I don't know if I'm smarter than a fifth grader. That is hard. I challenge any one of y'all to one of their math quizzes. It's a good time nonetheless, but it's hard. To find out more about Lead Public Schools, check them out on their website. Give Tom and Katie a follow on their teacher Instagrams, especially if you have students that age, or if you're like me and just like, you like a challenge, and that's why you follow them. Either way, I hope you leave as encouraged as I did in this. These are weird times, and having the hope to anchor in is good for me, and I can't imagine that I'm alone in that. So I hope you all enjoy this episode. Don't forget to subscribe to the Church of the City East Nashville YouTube channel so that you don't miss an episode of Holla at a Hero, and also all the other great content that we have for you guys. I miss you all. I hope you're staying well, keeping your hands washed, clean, sanitizing, wearing masks when you can, ultimately taking care of one another and staying safe. I love you. Can't wait to see you all in person. Hope you have a great day.
Hello. Hey guys, so these
Hey.
are my friends Tom and Katie. They work at Cameron Middle in Nashville. It's a school that we've supported in the past and we continue to. Some of you guys may recognize Tom. He's spoken from the stage and shared a little bit about what Cameron is and who they serve. So real quick, if you guys don't mind introducing yourselves.
I'm Tom, and like Charity said, I work at Cameron Middle School. I'm an administrator there. I'm an ELA instructional coach, so I observe and work with teachers on how to best teach reading and writing.
Perfect.
And I'm Katie. I teach also at Cameron, and I'm a fifth grade math teacher, also grade level chair, like liaison between admin and the fifth grade teachers.
Fabulous. Tom, tell us a little bit about Cameron, what you guys do, who you guys serve.
We are a zoned public charter, and so being a zone school just means that the students who live in your neighborhood or your zone, those are the ones that come to your school. So it's really similar to a typical public MNPS school, with the only difference being that we have like some ways that we can be a little more autonomous in what we decide to do. We have about 750 students, give or take, predominantly Hispanic, but with large African American and Egyptian populations. I think about 2/3 or maybe a little bit more of our students, they speak another language than English at home, whether that be Spanish or a number of different African languages, or a number of the different tribal languages that come from our students in Guatemala.
Oh, wow. And then what grades do you guys serve?
5th through 8th.
Okay. And then Katie, tell us a little bit about like what a typical pre-COVID life, day in the life in a classroom would be like at Cameron.
Yeah, so most teachers teach about 3 like groups of children, give or take, and then for math in particular, it's like about an hour of instruction and then a half hour or so of small group, while some kids are doing individual work on their computers, and then lunch and recess and all that good stuff.
Gotcha. And kind of since speaking to COVID, we'll go ahead and just like dive into the funky funk. So your school year has ended abruptly. Like it was right after spring break, right? Did y'all even make it to spring break or to school spring break?
I think we had like 2 days between the tornado and spring break, and then COVID. Like boom, boom, boom.
Yeah,
that's insane. So like you guys as teachers and as admin, you're navigating just all the ever-changing federal, state guidelines, and then the things that are kind of impending and on kind of mute until Katie, I'd love to kind of get a heart check on where you and your fellow teachers were at whenever you realized like, oh, we're probably not going back this year. Like we're probably not going to go back into the actual building kiddos.
Yeah. I mean, it's heavy and it's hard. There's been thankfully I have a roommate who's also a teacher, and so we've been able to be each other's therapists, I feel like, through this. I read there was like a teacher who posted this long post about it, but like to shorten it, they talked about how this like March through May is kind of like the golden time of the year. And so yes, there will be more golden times of the year, and like yes, there will be another group of students, but like we'll never get this time back with this group. And so that's really hard, knowing that they're not going to get to experience that with us, and we're not getting to experience that with them. I know, I think that the kids will be okay. Like academically, yes, there's a push for things for them to do and get done, and I want them to do it. But it's more just, I feel like, missing out on those moments and the hugs and the smiles and all that. So.
And then Tom, you being an admin and kind of a leader at the school with other teachers, I'd love to hear kind of how you and what your process was, what your team's process was, going through like the thoughts and feelings as you're shuffling through the ever-changing system after COVID kind of shut y'all down.
Yeah. Luckily, flexibility is always like at the heart of education, whether you're teaching a normal day or during COVID times.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people just have that skill innately or have learned it. If you're going to be in education, flexibility is key.
I would imagine.
We've recently lived by the quote of "Don't let perfect be the enemy of good," knowing that like this is uncharted territory and it's a little bit of a trial and error. Things that we are going to try may work. A lot of the things may not work, and we have to realize that like we're pushing towards our same goals. And just because the first rendition of remote learning may not go, probably is not going as planned, we know that like these attempts to strive towards that is going to be where we get the most bang for our buck. I was reading an article this morning, maybe, and it was a conversation between Dan Brown and Steven Tyler. And Steven Tyler, they were talking about the creative process, which I'm kind of linking to like creatively designed remote learning for our students. And he said, what did he say? He has a meeting, Steven Tyler, with his band every week, or did. And they call it like the Dare to Suck meeting. And so everyone has to come to the meeting with one idea that very likely may be a really bad idea. But 1 time out of 10, that idea is like, it's gold. And so kind of like, don't let perfect be the enemy of good. Like you also have to dare to suck a little bit and try things that, are going to be difficult and new and may or may not work, but all working towards those same goals.
That's really cool. I feel like that's my position. Like that's my responsibility in every meeting. Just bring any and all ideas, whether they suck or not. I can take the criticism. Okay, well, speaking to that, what does programming look like for the students at Cameron? Any types of new services that families are able to engage in, things like that. You had mentioned that you have a large population, a majority population, kind of ESL. So I would imagine that creates new barriers, but also new opportunities.
Yeah, so I'll start with the academic side. Each student has like one assignment a week per their class to complete. We had a huge push at the beginning of this to get every kid on Google Classroom through whatever means of technology they have, whether that's a cell phone, a tablet, a laptop, a parent's phone, a sibling phone, something like that. And we actually had a decent amount of students be able to get onto those Google Classrooms. We also host live sessions once a week, and so students can opt in and join like a Zoom call or an Instagram Live or a Google Hangout, whatever works for them in the class, just to do like a Q&A with the teacher, and just to provide like some sense of normality and consistency amongst learning. So they have those different opportunities to like access like content material. We also reach out to every single student and family twice a week. And so at Cameron, we have groups called Your Crew. And so like in my crew, I have 15 boys, sixth grade boys, who we meet every Wednesday morning, and we just kind of check up on like social emotional stuff. How's life as a middle schooler? Often hectic and crazy. And so each teacher at Cameron is reaching out to everyone in their crew twice a week, really focusing on two things. One, accountability, to make sure like, how is the online learning for you going? Like what barriers do you have, and how can I help remove those barriers? Second, and probably even more importantly right now, is the well-being checks, just to make sure kids are safe and healthy, even though these times are very different and uncertain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool. How are lunches, school, like food distribution? Are y'all able to do something like that? I know being a charter school, it's a little funky.
Yeah, so we partner with MNPS for those things. So they have rolled out like lunch plans or meal plans for students, so they can go to a particular site and either get these 2 meals a day per student, or have access to potentially a computer or some sort of technology or Wi-Fi hotspot, which are, I mean, obviously all great resources. We have another unique barrier just of transportation at Cameron. A lot of families who either parents are working multiple jobs and can't get their students to one of those places, or they just might not have the transportation to take their family either to the meal drop-off site or computer pickup site or things like that.
Gotcha. And then Katie, how would you say just this new way of doing things? You guys had mentioned beforehand that like the schedule sticks, like none of the students are necessarily required to do anything, like are rather obligated to do any of the learning that's offered. But you guys have these little pockets of learning experience. How has that affected relationships with the students? Because I know you guys are pretty close.
Yeah, I mean, I have taken up a lot of things, such as lots of Instagramming, and like, I don't know if you've heard of the app Canva, but I do that to like create all my Instagrams. TikTok.
Tell me
trying to get
that's some foolishness on y'all's personal Instas. I want to hear more about this.
Yeah, kids really just love TikTok more than any other app, I feel like, these days. And anytime, like even during the year, I had a TikTok, just gotta stay cool, keep up with the times, like see what was on there. And anytime that I would even refer to it, they're like, what? Like, you have their attention. So, just trying any and all avenues to get their attention, to find them, to be like, where are you? Are you doing your work? How are you doing? So it's actually, it's a workout because it takes you forever to learn the dance. It's fun, get some giggles on. But so in terms of relationships, I feel like we're just definitely having to get creative about reaching out, how we reach out, how to get their attention, how to find them. I mean, I think middle school is such a weird time for middle schoolers that they don't love speaking on the phone. They don't love being on like Zoom or FaceTime, but I think it's, as educators, it's our job to help them through that, as awkward as they might feel it is, and to keep learning and to feel, I think another piece of that is just feeling the love and feeling the wraparound support, even if they aren't super into the work. So relationships have definitely changed, and some I think have strengthened because of this, and some having to work a little harder at. But that's what we're here to do, you know.
How have, I mean, everyone says that kids are resilient, but like you said,
Yeah.
so on a personal note, I peaked in 8th grade. I was my best self in 8th grade. So when people say like middle school's hard, I'm like, this, I thrived. I was the business in 8th grade.
They're golden years.
I mean, that truly was a golden year. So I can't really relate to that. However, I know that while they say kids are resilient, I can't imagine that this, especially those that don't even have like the verbal like knowledge of what's going on, like knowing how to like interpret what exactly is going on, like on a vocabulary language, but then it just stirs up it just puts a bigger light on the challenges that that kids that age face. Are there any moments, like any bright spots that you guys can think of, you know, keeping it all HIPAA compliant and such, but are there any like moments of hope that you guys can share, that maybe from, whether it's like from a kid responding to TikTok dances, or a student that normally wouldn't reach out in class reached out to you personally during this season? Just any moments of hope that you guys saw or have seen.
Yeah. I don't know, you know, if you saw the TikTok dances on the personal account, you saw our one friend who normally, I mean, he's pretty vocal, a student who's vocal in class, but I haven't really heard from him during this whole process. But after the TikTok competition, he reached out to let me know he'd be voting for me and not Mr. Schoen, because I was better at everything, you know? So
Yes.
I'm just kidding. But things like that, or I today actually finally got a hold of a student who for the last like 4 weeks we've been playing phone tag, and she'll message me at 10 p.m. and be like, sorry, I'm already in bed. Okay, but I called you at 9 a.m. this morning.
She was also in bed.
You know, yes. You know, so I think that ultimately kids, they want to be successful and they want to do well. That's going to manifest in different ways and at different times. So I don't know, Tom, if you have any other glimmers of hope to share, but
yeah, I think a lot of it is around like building, and obviously we do this during the school year, but building self-reliance and intrinsic motivation. Spending legit like 45 minutes to an hour getting a kid who doesn't speak English logging into Google Classrooms with the right apps on their smart device. Those are some pretty big wins. My like half Spanish texting, half phone call. I'm like, okay, try this. Show me a screenshot. What does this look like? Let me try this Google Translate. Nope, that's not right. But those long battles are very rewarding. That takes too much time to get something done, but once it's done, it's like, that's a win.
Yeah.
I'm glad you guys have been able to celebrate things and find the little victories and celebrate them. And then another question. So a lot of parents, Matt and Mary, Smallbone included, have found themselves in educator roles, whether they've wanted to be homeschool parents or not. What are some tips that you guys can give parents or caregivers to kind of help keep their students just in this little curve before the summer, engaged in learning, even if it's not just like a subject, even if it's not just math, but just what are some ways that parents can keep their student engaged? And either one of y'all can answer.
Yeah.
Do you want to go?
I think, I mean, if you have something you could start, if not, either way.
Go for it.
Okay. I mean, I know we've talked a lot today just about like the intrinsic motivation, and so finding ways to help intrinsically motivate kids, I think will help not only the kid and the parent, because I think, you know, especially kids who are old enough to be self-reliant, I think teaching them to be self-reliant, self-sufficient is a huge part of this. And so, I think one, like we see everywhere, but like setting schedules, but even like making it normalized and okay. If like, I'm struggling right now to sit down for like 30 minutes and do something and then finish it, so like normalizing that, that's fine, but like let's set 3 goals for today and what are you going to accomplish, and even if that takes you all day to do one assignment plus read 1 page, and I think that that's totally acceptable. I also just think, at school, if the intrinsic isn't working, then we move to extrinsic, and so finding like reward systems. I think that at school, especially when I find myself like, oh my gosh, I don't know what else to do with this kid. I've tried everything, I feel like. Then I go back to like sticker charts, and like you would be surprised, even the 8th graders still like sticker charts. So,
Yes.
just finding the wins. I know we talked a lot about that, but like as humans, we like that, and I think kids too. So
Now, is that vocabulary, the intrinsic motivation, is that something that's like unique to Cameron, or like is that something that everybody knows of that I just have really missed? Because I don't know what that means. I'm like,
it's definitely
you
probably
need to be holding
an
down the
educator
character.
garb.
It sounds like a spell.
Yes, Harry Potter intrinsic. No, like I
No,
just
it's
think
a real
like
world, Charity.
internal,
You should know this phrase.
internal versus external. So like getting a kid to internally motivate and be like, I need to do this so that I've learned the material and I do well, versus external. I want to do this because I want the sticker, or I want to do this because I know I'm gonna get ice cream later, or whatever. So like
So is intrinsic
balancing both.
motivation a fancy word for robbery?
I think
Extrinsic is kind of,
like
Oh,
yes,
okay.
yes.
Okay.
Intrinsic is hopefully without the bribery,
Gotcha.
but
Gotcha.
things like that.
Okay.
Like you wake up in the morning, Charity, and run a mile because you know it's how to promote the most healthy charity alive. You just do that internally.
You know me so well. Gets up and hits the pavement. Falls flat
Oh,
forward.
so funny.
So then another question would be like, so with all the shifts and changes and challenges that you guys have clearly rocked and seem to be doing really well, how did the needs change in this current season? How can our community really wrap around Cameron and the teachers and the students and admin? Where are you guys at in terms of how the community can support, even if it's just T's and P's?
I mean, I think the like needs are wide and varied. One really cool thing that our student support and counseling team is doing, they've created like a Google form. So as like we're reaching out to our kiddos 2 times a week, if we see a need that arises with a family or a child, we can put it into the form, and kind of feeds this like long list of like what each of our families need during this time. And so some things we've been doing are just like creating like boxes or bags for families who might need like diapers or formula, toiletries. Food is obviously is the one for everybody too, but just trying to find like the specific needs for each family that we're doing, and kind of creating like, I don't know, like I guess like a, what do you call those? Like
a care package.
A care package, yeah, care
Oh,
package for like some of the necessities that families may need.
Got it. Thank you guys. This has been incredibly insightful. I feel like we hear so much news surrounding like what schools like I feel like all we've heard are if schools are open or if they're closed, and getting the word that the school year has come to an end. That doesn't necessarily mean that the relationships have stopped, that the learning has stopped. So I'm grateful to get some personal insight from you guys. And getting a little bit more personal, I want to know what shows you guys are quarantine binging right at this moment. And even or maybe y'all aren't binging, but if that's not your journey, that's fine. But what are you guys currently watching now?
I just finished Little Fires Everywhere. Didn't read the book, but it was good. I really liked it. But then beyond that, I've really been binging, rewatching New Girl. It's become the new Friends in my house, and sadly, RIP isn't on Netflix anymore. But New Girl just brings some laughs. So
I feel like we're
about
all, even like with all of our shows, which is a shame because, you know, like Friends and Frasier, my go-tos, they're off of Netflix now. I feel like we're all kind of, we have like our challenge, which is like working the new programs. But then we also have like kind of our go-tos. So now I'm having to like watch Frasier on Hulu because I'm not about to pay for that premium account.
No.
I watch it with commercials now and just like shows that bring us comfort and that are nostalgic. Yep. I feel like that's what we're doing. Tom, what are you and Danielle watching?
We are Nerd Alert, chronologically making our way through the MCU or Marvel Cinematic Universe right now. So watching all the Marvel movies in chronological order, and it is very fun and nerdy, but really cool.
Are those just movies, or are they shows?
There are shows. We're making our way through the movies. Disney Plus, all the way, because Disney owns everything now.
Okay.
The world. They own the world.
Disney World in all caps. Well, I love that. Thank you guys so much. Again, I appreciate your time. Love getting to know all the things. If people want to get involved, if people want to learn more about what Cameron's doing, not just during this season, but also like when school year starts, because it's coming back, y'all. August.
Yeah, it is.
School will be back in session.
It better be.
Where can they find you guys? Where can they follow along with what you guys are doing?
Go ahead.
Is there like a thing you can put on the bottom of the screen? Is it already there right now, live?
Like that? No, I'm not fancy enough.
I don't know which way you are.
Or maybe it's up here.
I think
maybe it's nowhere and we're just pointing in the air right now and it's gonna look really awkward.
It's just gonna be.
People can call or text or email me. I have all my information, my number, and I can give it to you. We also have like a school Instagram. I have a Mr. Schoen Instagram now because I'm about that life.
Learning with Lurg.
Learning with Lurg. And then what's your teacher account, Tom?
Mr._Schoen_.
Okay. And then, so if people want to learn about Cameron specifically, you guys have an Instagram as well?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And it's Cameron.
I bet I can find it right now.
And then I'm sure you guys can follow.
I think it's Lead Cameron.
I think you guys can also like find a website. It's Lead Schools.
Yeah. Lead Public Schools would definitely be the website, or like what to search to find our website.
To Google. Sorry, I didn't prep you guys for that question. That's
Lead.Cameron.
Lead.Cameron on socials, on the social.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. Well, I'll make sure to put that in the comment section or something. I'll make it for the people to see. But we appreciate you guys and hope all this crazy ends sooner rather than later. But we have hope. We have hope. It's gonna be fun. Y'all are doing great. Yeah. Thank you guys.
Bye.
Bye.